Hello, my name is Annalie Adams. I am a student at Southern Crescent Technical College, and I'm about to graduate with my associates in web design and development. I am also the marketing coordinator for the Butts County Chamber of Commerce, and today we're going to get into some of my projects from the school and the Chamber of Commerce, and then I'm going to answer some interview questions. So let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the water conservation website I designed for my web development 2 final. I used Figma to design the logo and the wireframe for the website. Then I went to HostGator and got my hosting and domain for the site. Afterwards, I went into WordPress, and that's where I really started editing the website and how I wanted it to look. And I added different sorts of plugins, such as a contact form, because WordPress doesn't have like a contact form, so you would have to download a plugin for that. I do some video editing for the Butts County Chamber of Commerce. Butts County is Georgia's outdoor capital. So we really like to showcase what sort of outdoor activities you can do there. So I have started a Hike With Me series. And this series includes Dosset Trails, Half Falls, and the video I'm going to show you today is Indian Springs State Park. It was a bird watching hike with a group of people. And I'm just going to show you a small clip to show you how I used CapCut to edit animations, to clip the videos together, edit the text, add background music, and a voiceover. And now we're going to get into this door decal. So every year, the Chamber of Commerce members get a new decal to put on the front of their business. And this goes on hundreds of businesses all around Butts County. So it's a really big project. Since Butts County is Georgia's outdoor capital, and we haven't had a door decal yet that really embodied that, that's what I did this year. I took a photo I found of Jackson Lake and put it in Adobe Illustrator, and I used that as my reference for this image I drew here. And then we need a QR code, so people who stop by these businesses can be like, oh, chamber member, what's a chamber member? They can open up their camera and scan this QR code, and it will take them to our website. So that's really fun and simple. All I did was take the website URL and put it in a QR generator. Now we're going to get into a live logo design. Basically, I'm just going to walk you through the process of how I designed the flowing forward logo. Let's head in Adobe Illustrator and let me show you how I can kind of do it from there. So this icon you see here was a free icon I got from online, and I turned it into what you see here. It was really straightforward on how I did that. First, I had to ungroup this image because these were attached. But because it was attached, it made it super easy to ungroup that attachment and then turn these into the colors I really wanted for my logo. After I had these colors picked out, I just typed the word flowing, and I used the ladybug font, and then I typed the word forward, and I used this IKEA Televigala font. The ladybug font you do have to buy, but this other font came with Adobe. It's a really simple logo, but it looks really nice, and it has different aspects to really catch one's eye. And now we're going to answer some interview questions. Hey, we're going to get into our interview questions now. Question 1, how do I approach a new web design project from start to finish? So with a web design project, when you're designing a website, the first thing you need to do is create an idea. You need to figure out what website you're doing. You need to figure out what this website's going to look like. Figma is a really good tool for that. You can go into Figma and create your wireframe. And when you're creating your wireframe in Figma, you figure out your color palette, your fonts you want to use, all of that stuff. Once you have your wireframe finished and you have really decided what you want your website to look like, you then go on to a hosting site. I have been using HostGator. They make it really straightforward. They don't make it too expensive to host your website. You can even do multiple websites through them. Once you have your hosting and your domain for the website, you can go onto WordPress. WordPress makes it really simple and straightforward to create your website. I found a website called Tyler.com. Tyler.com, you put in your website design idea, and then you go through the themes and you find a theme that you can work with. And then you click generate, and it's going to generate a bunch of text on there for you, which you can then edit. But once you get this generated template, you can copy that whole page and add it to your WordPress site and edit it completely from there, which just makes the whole design process a bit easier. All right, question number 2. Describe a design challenge I encountered and how I resolved it. With my portfolio website design, I was having issues getting my URL to work. I wasn't really sure why it wasn't working. So I consulted a girl who had my position at the Butts County Chamber of Commerce before me and a professor. Do not be afraid to ask help. Google will give you Google will give you answers to your questions as well. From there, I figured out that I had to copy some codes into the domain side of my hosting website that I was using. But it still wasn't working, and that's because that can take up to 2 weeks to get your domain URL fully loaded. And if you're having issues with that, you would just have to find a different hosting. What design trends or techniques are you currently exploring or interested in? Some design trends that I've been seeing a lot are really abstract. If you go into Pinterest for sorts and you search up graphic design, most of the designs you're going to see are really abstract. The words are kind of everywhere. The images are kind of everywhere. And, they kind of teach you, like, don't do that because it can look messy. It can turn one's eye. But it really seems like lately that's what's going to capture someone's eye because they're like, oh, that's a lot. Let me look more into it and really read what that says. So I think that's a really cool design trend for right now, and I really like to use that sometimes in my graphics. How do I ensure my designs are user-friendly and accessible? You can create your design on Figma, and you can do a prototype on Figma to make sure your design is user-friendly and accessible. Figma really easily allows you to get these arrows to attach to what you want it to click when people click through your design. And then you just hit prototype and you can click through it and make sure it's user-friendly and accessible. What are my favorite tools or resources for design inspiration? Are my favorite design tools or resources for design inspiration? A lot of beginner graphic designers really like to go straight into Pinterest and find their design inspiration, which has a lot of design inspiration and can kind of keep you up on the current trends of graphic designs. My professor, however, told us that we need to get real-life resources. So real-life resources, taking photos, are great design inspirations.